Hey, Homeworthy. Hi, I'm John Demsey. Welcome to Behind the Blue Door. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm John Demsey. I am a cosmetic industry advisor and executive. We are here in New York City in my townhouse in Treadwell Farms. Welcome to Behind the Blue Door. Behind the Blue Door actually is the name of my book, which I published about 16 months ago with Azuline Press, which is a photographic series of my collecting, design, and artistic ethos. And the book, basically a peek behind the actual blue door in front of my house, which is a blue lacquered door, the way I think, the things that inspire me, the things that I love, began as a complete gut reno. And when we started doing the house and working with my dear friend B.B. Monahan, my interior designer, and Joseph Carnaccia, my architect, we wanted to try to reestablish some of the grandeur of the early 1900s of the house. And in trying to figure out what the house should look like, we decided to start from the ground up and start with the carpets. These are stark carpets in the designs of David Hicks. And my friend, the muse of John Galliano at Dior, Suzanne von Aschinger, who was a model, was wearing these kick-ass Christian Louboutin boots, which were in electric cobalt blue, gold, red, mustard yellow, and navy. And I thought, give me your shoes. I took the boots, took them to the carpet maker, and we began the color palette of the house off of the Louboutin boots. So literally, we stepped into it from fashion. So here we are, we're on the second floor behind the blue door, and let me show you around, actually. So you'll see the room is centered on this carpet, which is a David Hicks carpet inspired by those Christian Louboutin boots of my friend Suzanne, of all the color palettes of the house. And it's anchored with this sweeping Willie Rizzo couch that was in my parents' apartment back in the 70s. It used to be brown pig suede in crushed blue velvet. And so this sort of sweeping blue room, which is basically set up as where I generally have events or parties or things, or after dinner parties and such. And there are so many things. You'll see on this wall, a wall of black and white photography with, paparazzi, fashion, glam shots. So there's Cher by wearing Bob Mackie. That's Bette Midler and Mick Jagger. That's the Holy Trinity of the supermodels shot by the late Roxanne Lowitt, Catherine Deneuve, Ellen von Unworth, the black and white ball with Mia Farrow and Frank Sinatra, Bianca Jagger on a horse at Studio 54, David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, Kim Kardashian, Alfred Hitchcock, on and on and on and on and on. If we go around here, we have There Are a Pair of Hands by Frederberg from Mexico City, which I personally love. This is a Willie Rizzo bureau. On top of it, you see this is Marcel Wander's Baccarat, Vanini, Antiquities, Murano Glass, Dome, and Hervé van der Straten lamp. This wall is all color photography as opposed to the other wall. This is all black and white. Once again, with lots of celebrities. There's Pam Anderson, and there's Gloria Vanderbilt, and there's Lizzo, along with photographs by Miles Aldridge and Horst. And this chair I found at the curated shop in Los Angeles called Just One Eye. And it's an artistic piece. I don't know actually who the artist is who did it. I think it was a series of like 4 or 5. I think it's pretty cool, actually. The Cotis coffee table, you have a mix of a lot of fun stuff. So this lion or panther head was on the desk of Brad Gray when he was the head of Paramount Pictures. And this hippopotamus I found in the Pousse in Paris. This is all this Dutch sort of pottery and ceramics from a place called Waterhouse. If we look up, actually, that is the Philippe Starck Baccarat chandelier with blue denim shades. At this point here, that is a Georges Chevalier Baccarat starburst mirror on top of a mirror, surrounded by two vintage turquoise foo dogs, coupled with two vintage navy blue pugs. And I'm lucky to have a fireplace on the first floor and on the second floor. And I love the focal point of this fireplace, in which you have a good friend of mine is an artist named Hugh Finlanter, who's known as Mr. Flowerheads. And he's a Jamaican American man who lives in Milan, who works in Murano and creates these incredible, fantastical creatures and heads. So this is for Mr. Flowerheads, two fish from him, because after all, I'm a Pisces. We go on, and then we have all up on the surrounding sound here. All these are pinups from David Bailey from the 1960s, and these amazing Ruan Hoffman plates. And we come into the atrium area here, which is really a continuation of the jungle theme. You have this de Gournay custom screen. You have more animals, Hervé van der Straten coffee table, lots of birds, because we're in an atrium, and peacocks, all an homage from this Ren Hong photograph, which was an iconic photograph from a Chinese activist, and which is banned to be seen actually in China. But this photograph, particularly I went to Germany to go pick it up, but this photograph with the peacock actually carries into the idea of these birds and creatures. So you have, peacock here, peacock there, a toucan, more Murano, lots of books, objets, monkeys, photographs of myself. That is a photograph in this room in front of the bar. It's all done with Polaroids being mashed up. So it's done by Gilles Descamps, who's a photographer, a well-known photographer. And this is one of my favorite things. This is the Sostas Memphis totem from the mid-'80s, which is rare. And you even can see like this theme of family or jungle, that this pillow of this leopard was needle pointed by my late grandmother. So, having something always from the family, or something from the past, or something from the present, constantly changing. In the adjacent room is my red library, which is all red, orange, and curated with everything framed in gold frames and saturated color. So it's inspired by the nightclubs of Robin Burley in London. Actually, the greatest compliment I've ever been given was that my home looks like a club in London, because that's what I was aiming for. But you have, once again, a mashup of mid-century modern, new 21st century pieces, family heirlooms, objets, architectural pieces, touches of Memphis, Sostas, and of things of entertaining and at ease. So this is my red room library, and it's set up like a cabinet de curiosité. So we actually curated and arranged all these objects like an old cabinet of curiosities. And it's grounded once again in this David Hicks amazing rug with these shades of red, and this Hermes covered Christian Liègre orange couch. And here you have Guy de Rougemont cloud tables, Eric Schmidt custom chairs, and photographs that are a little bit more surrealist, a little more pop. You have a couple black and whites here. This is a photograph of Andy Warhol by my friend Jonathan Becker. That's Cyndi Lauper. That's Elsa Martinelli by Willie Rizzo with the Italian flag on her lids. This monkey here actually was in my mother's living room growing up. So this monkey's actually gone everywhere with me. We have here more Memphis, more Vanini, more sculpture. That's the original artwork of Diana Ross on the cover of Interview magazine, Salvador Dali, animals, objects everywhere. And these photographs here are done by an artist named Breakawaith, who is an artist who created the movement of Black is Beautiful. You'll see his images as well. Books, 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 and more books. We have another fireplace, actually. I have 3 fireplaces. And the peacock from the atrium shows up in the hearth of the room. There's a surrealist photograph that looks of Marilyn Monroe. You have another hue owl, stallions, robots, Fornasetti, LV collaborations. My mother's Menagerie from Judith Lieber. Red is good luck. So I believe, and you'll see around the house, that every room has a piece of red in it, or touch of red. So it's good luck. And it's dramatic, and things look great with it. Not actually on this chair, this is a needlepoint of one of my mother's paintings. So that's and this as well. So family inspiration is everywhere. We come here to this Italian desk in this sort of iridescent sort of blue. More objects, a lot of them unique pieces of work. This here is a Gioponte painting, actually an original work, which I think great. This lucite chair that was done by Jeffrey Bradfield. This is a Jouet owl. This is just a fabulous chair, and you'll see that these drapes and everything, all the wall coverings go together. Or on this wall, this is a photo painting by a woman I know named Laurence in Paris of Diana Vreeland. This is done by Stephen Klein. This is Nicki Minaj as a blue Marilyn Monroe. And over the door into the powder room, that is a shot of a Chinese model for the cover of China Vogue, shot by Stephen Klein as the Chinese Marilyn, and which I think is super fun. And you've got Liz Taylor, Bert Stern, Donatella Versace, done by Miles Aldridge. That's Mario Testino. And then this is fun. This is a powder room. And in this powder room, which has sort of some personal touches as well, you'll see here that chandelier was the chandelier in the house that I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. So I brought it here. It's an Orfor. And on the wall here are all these fun illustrations by my friend Donald Robertson. And they're things that were my Christmas card or things that reflect moments in my life, with this fabulous mirror. And even walking in, there is a painting of my mom, and a Carl Springer bench, and more vases and more things, and a vintage hourglass mirror. And if you look at some of the expressions of some of these things, they have certain things. This is hell decor, with spending all my money on the house. That's a picture of me when I was working at Mac, and this is my Christmas card, and Lady Gaga was the Viva Glam spokesperson, so a fantastical vision of my daughter, Marie Helene, myself, and Lady Gaga. I don't know, it's just fun stuff. Another door, because behind every door there's something unique and different. These were all illustrations of the Met Ball that were done by Donald. This was the punk year. So you see, Anna Wintour with a mullet, Albert Ebaz, and so on and so forth. That's the guest powder room. I have an extensive collection of many, many, many different things, but the one thing that I have been most passionate about since honestly my early 20s is style, fashion, and beauty photography. It sort of sits within the world of my chosen profession. And around the house, we have over 800 images on the wall from some of the greatest fashion image creators and cultural iconic subjects that have sort of circled in and out of my world or my childhood aspirations of being part of. It's inspired by glamour, bold, big personalities, and legends who have been here, are here, or maybe are not with us any longer. And I love the idea that all these legendary style icons sit or face each other on my wall, having a conversation with each other. And that's sort of my mantra of how things sort of fit together and work together. Impossible mashups or conversations between people or eras that weren't necessarily at the same time, but very much had a core philosophy that ties it all together. So now we're heading up to the third floor, which is my floor, where I live and work. You'll see more gallery-style artwork, Guy Bourdin, Lindsay Lohan, and one of my favorite little nooks and crooks in the house is another guest bathroom. This is the Dita Von Teese bathroom. So if you come in here, this is a wallpaper designed by my friend Donald Robertson of Dita Von Teese, and sexy sort of Greta Garbo legs and just, I don't know, a lot of whimsy and fun and sort of a conversation piece, because it seems everything here starts a conversation. And if we go up the stairs here, there's some things here that are important that I point out. This is the photograph of Suzanne von Echinger, the person whose Christian Louboutin boots inspired the color theme of the house. My bedroom, all glam. The Isabelle Giroust eye mirror, which is over the bed. The cabinetry are all red lacquer. You have a portrait of me as a monkey in a Tom Brown suit, done by an artist named Marc Gagnon. There's the Orlitsky gorilla. And then this great Columbo chair and lots of imagery of lips, eyes, the royal family, sort of a mashup. We even did a cabinet of curiosities where the TV set are with this fabulous leopard that was a gift to me from my friend Aaron, and more monkeys and more vases and more things. And as you can see up here, another Mr. Flowerheads. The bolster of the bed in this sort of animal print, giraffe actually, which corresponds to the fashion photograph by Willa Rizzo of Giraffe in the 70s. The lamp over here is Guy de Rougemont. And these are Polar Crespi, this lamp and these cloud side tables. And then going into, I guess, my ultimate indulgence is the closet, which is packed, and it's all organized by color. And this is fall, spring's in the basement, and we flip it. But you can see, and portraits of me, people that have designed clothing for me. I'm obsessed with eyeglasses and fragrance. In my former life, I actually helped to build and create the Tom Ford beauty brand. And now I work with many companies and have had the good fortune to discover amazing products like this Dries Van Noten Soie Malike. That's one of the people I work with. It took me years to figure out actually how I wanted to look and how I wanted to dress. I think when you're young, you should try and do whatever you want to do. I mean, there's so many stages of our life. So, I was a club kid in my my earlier years. I was fashion obsessed, but I think over time, find the things that you feel comfortable in, that you think reflect your own personal aesthetic and style, and stick with it. Actually, this just arrived. This is a custom Xenia safari jacket. I'm really fond of safari jackets, so this just arrived. I love that, but a Berluti leather jacket, a Loro Piana blazer. I love biker jackets. And by the way, there's some more animals hopping around here as well. So it's the jungle theme continues. In the office is an homage to Paris and the time that was sort of probably the most influential period of my life, when I really discovered what I loved about style and fashion and my own personal style. And the office is centered around a map of Paris on one wall and photographs from great French photographers and iconography from Paris. Once again with Ruin Hoffman plates, but this time all in French with French obscenities. Every room has an attitude. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It has a sense of humor. It's maximalist in its execution, but almost feng shui and minimalist in terms of its core essence and idea. And that's sort of my left side, right side way that I think. Then in this hallway here, once again, more photography. That's a photograph of myself when I was 21 years old by Joseph Karsh. This was the cover of Women's Wear Daily Beauty Biz. Did a profile on me years ago. I love this piece by the Carpenter brothers. Hell is empty and all the devils are here. Sort of a mantra to live by. David Watts, a monkey, of course. We enter into my very messy office. And Murano chandelier from the 60s. And the wall covered with a map of Paris. And it used to be very minimalist. There was nothing on it. And like everything, I just start filling it up. And this is a photograph of Picasso by Julien Clerc. There is the office of Diana Vreeland. This is a piece of original art by my friend Donald Robertson of an Hermes gas station in Texas. On this wall here, this is a Guy de Rougemont lighting fixture. You have here Niki de Saint-Phal, that's Brigitte Bardot, François Hardy, who was the ultimate iconic French rocker chick. And one thing I didn't point out in every room, there's a portrait of the room done by an artist named Jane Black. So this is her portrait of my office, but every room has a picture of itself by another artist. This is my desk, this is my files, these are my papers. This is where I have to multitask and do lots of things. And it's more eclectic. And the thing in my life that inspired me the most was living in Paris and being in Europe. So this room captures that. It's a tiny room. This is a portrait of Isabel Toledo, who passed away a few years ago. And Ruben did this for me with Isabel. And he did this sort of as a Dada-esque sort of photograph. So that was a personal gift. I have family things. I mean, there is a sentimentality to me. It's not all just, glam. This is my daughter. And this is a frame that a friend of mine gave me. And it says Liebling, which is her nickname for me in German, which means darling. And that's my daughter. My dad passed away, nearly 3 years ago, and that's the remembrance of him. So I just keep it next to me. Well, the structure of the house is thematic. And there are definite moods and personas and touch points of each floor and color waves. As you enter into the first floor, which is basically welcome to the jungle, it is a floor encompassing, the kitchen, which has sort of a high glam impact and a collection of every calendar Fornasetti plate that was ever done, working into a dining room and a sun room with leopard carpets, cheetah prints, and all sorts of a menagerie of jungle cats and wild animals in crystal, ceramic, silver, gold, dome, lalique, baccarat. So it's that sort of mashup of all these sort of wild creatures. So that's the floor that begins entering into the house and setting the tone for what you're going to see. This is the first floor, and this is the entry hall, and you can see photography is everywhere. This is a Horst photograph, Dufy, Guy Bourdon, and here's Giselle Bundchen, Marilyn Minter, and Dua Lipa entering us into the house on a leopard carpet ride with a photograph of me, vintage 1998. And we come into this room, which is my dining room. No, these things are not on the table when we're eating here. But this is sort of an animal menagerie of just great collectible things, all with sort of some provenance or interesting backstory in terms of the artists or who did them. I'm attracted to animals and life. This is a rhinoceros that was done by Willie Rizzo in Paris, which I'm particularly fond of. This Hervé van der Straten lighting fixture, and on this credenza that was done by Patrick Nagar, you have this graphic Rankin eye, a Roe Etheridge photograph here, Guy Bourdon, and this cat is from Studio Jobs. More gorillas, lots of gorillas. This is a photograph that was done by my good friends Inez and Vanud. Cabinets filled with family memories and objects and ceramics and plates that go back a long time. And here, the main floor, dining room fireplace, this pop sort of blue electric Hervé van der Straten mirror, surrounded by whimsical Ruben Hoffman plates, like Shit Getting Out of Hand and Bad Idea and Bye. And so with a pug and a monkey and an owl and a tiger and a mythical beast. So it's eclectic. This is a Vincent Daré chair in blue, of course. Fornasetti pillows. My original interior designer, B.B. Monahan, helped me put all this together, and I invite into the house about 2 times a year this amazing stylist who styled my book named Yeke ten Have. And what we do is we move everything around. So we move objects, we reorient things. Sometimes I got too much stuff since she was last here, so we need to simplify it down. And then I also bring my art curator, Heather McKenna Pardo, in, and we rehang a lot of the art. So, because you see it differently when it's in a different context. And then this room here, which you can see the backyard actually out here. And there's a lion, of course, outside, but normally in season, this is a beautiful sort of garden setup. But once again, mythical beasts, whether it's a bull. This is a Fornasetti table. This is an artist that we found in South Africa during the pandemic that I bought the work sight unseen. And it arrived, and it's way bigger than I thought it was. These 2 chairs here were the Eames chairs that sat in my father's mid-century office in Cleveland, and I made them yellow. This one thing, which I didn't realize, when you look at the front door, you see that door knocker? That was the door knocker on the house that I lived in since I was 2 years old. So I took that when my father passed away almost 3 years ago. When we sold the house, I took the door knocker and realized that somehow that door knocker had a pug. And I never had a pug or thought of a pug, yet it was there. So things seemed like they were haphazard, but everything actually arrived with some rhyme or reason. So that's interesting. The fourth floor, which is the floor for the ladies in my life, my daughter, MH, who is 16 years old, has her bedroom, and you have also 2 guest suites where you discover the colors of pink, green, and yellow, and you're exposed to the paintings of my mother, Renee Demsey, who is a painter who has been doing decorative arts for over 60 years and shows her work at Bergdorf Goodman. So it is a very personal floor. It's a more feminine floor. It's a floor that's created for the ladies and all those who come to visit, because I have a lot of family members who come to visit. So here we are on the 4th floor. This is a giant Miles Aldridge telephone call photograph, which I love. And these are Tim Walker's pastel pussycats in Sylvie Blum's sort of fashion photographs, Hans Slonim, and you know, more fantastical rabbits. If we go into here, in the guest suites, these gates are here because this is a tour in real life, not a fictitious. This is not a staged. This was not staged. This is actually in real life. And here's one room, and as you can see here, these are my mom's paintings, and they're super colorful. She had a huge influence on my life, still does. And you'll see this lighting fixture that comes from Paris is the smaller version of the one that's actually in the Red Library. The wedding photograph of my mom when she got married many, many, many years ago. But once again, a family-inspired room. For me, home is my center. It's my place where I can be myself, have my own space, express myself however I feel like expressing it, relax, be inspired, be stimulated, and at the same time create an environment that allows me to think and envision of the future and things that I can push the boundaries on in my personal life. It's my project that never ends, because it never ends. Things are coming in and out of here all the time. I rehang the walls 2 to 3 times a year. I reorient and restyle a lot of the objects and things in the house to shake it up and to give other things an opportunity to come forward and be seen. One of the things is when you come here, I think you get the big idea, but the details matter a lot. And sometimes the tension is the big idea and actually paying homage to the individual pieces.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.